Okay, guys, we're at chapter 17 of Lemons, and this chapter is titled Dr. Charlie. I'll have an optional assignment for you that'll be due on Friday. Obviously, you already have the assignment that is due for this upcoming Friday. Okay? Gangrene! Tobin and Charlie are leaning over me the next morning, examining the scrape that's on my knee that I got when I fell on my way back from the pee spot. I'm not going to candy coat it either. It's a gusher. It's all bloody in the middle and all green on the edges. That's how they know it's gangrene. You know what? They'll probably have to amputate it, I say. Charlie and Tobin look at each other, and Tobin slaps his forehead and just shakes his head. It's not gangrene, he says. Are you blind? I point to it. It's green, see? It's a grass stain, you dope. That's what you know. My fingernails are completely numb, and they say that's the first sign. Who feels their fingernails? Tobin demands. And who are they, anyway? They, I say, them, the people. What people? Is this really what you want to be talking about right now, when I'm at death's door? I need an ambulance and a doctor before I lose more than just my leg. Tobin blows air out of his mouth and looks at Charlie. She's ruining the whole trip, he says, and then he turns to me. You're ruining the whole trip. I hope you know that. Okay, now, Charlie says calmly. First off, Lem, I think you're going to survive, and your leg too. We just need to clean it up, that's all. I really think a doctor should do it, I tell him. He is a doctor, Tobin says. I watch Charlie pull a first aid kit out of a brown paper bag. He opens the box and takes out some cotton balls and a band-aid and some clear liquid in a bottle. A real doctor? Retired, he says, as he dabs a cotton ball with the liquid. Oh, this might sting a little, but I think it's going to save you from an amputation. I take a deep breath and squeeze my eyes closed. Ready, I tell him. Here we go, he says. As soon as he touches me, I feel the sting. Ow, I say, jumping. It burns, it burns. Charlie blows on it, which takes some of the sting away. The clear liquid also cleans up the green stain. I guess they were right. No gangrene, just some grass. It'll be okay in a minute, Lem. Taking a breath and blowing again. I think you're going to live. He dabs and blows again. How are those fingernails doing? I check them. I still can't feel them. He smiles. Perfect. I guess he's right about everything. This time. But that doesn't mean there isn't a bug still burrowing into my insides, or that I don't have malaria from the zillion mosquito bites on my arms and legs, and I slap my neck, and I flick another mosquito off my finger, a zillion and one now. Not to mention I found out I'm allergic to expeditions. I don't know how, but I was allergic to expeditions since I've never been on one before. But clearly I'm allergic, because I've never sneezed 32 times alone since the sun finally showed its face above the trees. My record is 8 sneezes in a row without a single break. Sneeze. 33. I wonder how many sneezes in a row a body can take before you actually chew yourself to death. Maybe I'll be the first. It was that woke me up in the morning, and everyone else too, since we all had our sleeping bags lined up in the same tent. Charlie said I was a good alarm clock, and then put some dabs of white cream on each of my mosquito bites. And Tobin didn't agree. I figured this out because of all the eye rolling and the forehead slapping, and also because he tells me so once we get going after our breakfast hike. How are we supposed to come up on any Bigfoot with you making all that racket? Tobin yells back at me over his shoulder. You're scaring them off. Charlie's leading us through the woods with a large backpack hanging from his shoulders. Tobin is in front of me with a Polaroid camera around his neck, and I'm following with Tobin's movie camera hanging from mine. Like I'm doing this on purpose, and I sneeze again. I can't help that I'm allergic to expeditions. Well, you're ruining everything, Tobin says. That's so rude, I said. You don't think I would rather be with Mrs. Dickerson sipping tea and munching on cookies instead of stomping around in the woods looking for a giant ape? I sneeze again. Again with the complaining. You're the one complaining. I smack another mosquito off my forehead. If I was going to complain, I'd complain about losing my blood to all the insects in the forest. I'd smack my leg. But you don't hear me saying any of that, do you? No, you don't. If you let Charlie spray the off, they'd leave you alone. That stink in a can? I'd gag if I had to smell like that all day. Another eye roll. All right now, guys, Charlie says. It's daylight anyhow. We know that they're nocturnal animals, and coming upon an actual Bigfoot isn't likely anyway. So So let's keep an eye out for the evidence. A footprint, hair, scat, something like that. Patterson and Giblin filmed their Bigfoot in the middle of the day, Tobin reminds him, in Bluff Creek, so anything's possible. Then, Tobin glares at me. Anything would have been possible, he says again. The volcano inside of me is bubbling a low heat, making me want to snatch that stupid hat off his head and smack him with it. But I don't. What's scat? I holler up to Charlie instead. Number 2, Tobin says. What? It's number 2. It's poop. Did he just say what I think he said? So, not only are we looking for a big ape in the woods, we're also looking for a number 2? That's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard in my life. Everything poops. What's the big deal about it? Tobin says. The big deal is usually don't hunt for poop in the woods. Charlie stops and then pulls his backpack off his shoulders. What are we doing, I ask. Charlie unzips the pack and pulls out a hand-drawn map, an old magazine article from 1967 about Roger Patterson. Charlie and Tobin drew the rough map based on information in the article to find exactly where the Bigfoot was filmed. They've been studying it all week. I think we're here, Charlie points to the spot on the paper. We need to head this way for another mile or so, and then we should be right up at the sandbar where they filmed her. Yep, I think so too, Tobin says. How's everybody doing? Is everybody okay? And Charlie takes a look at me. Both Tobin and I nod. Let's keep going then, Charlie says as he lugs his heavy pack over his shoulders. I got a good feeling we might just find something today. A zillion miles later, we finally stop. My feet are tired, and my nose is still running, and my mosquito bites are even itchier, but I won't complain. Not out loud, anyway. I think this is it, Tobin shouts as he points straight ahead. Charlie, that looks like the dry creek bed. What do you think? Right up there? Through the clearing there? They study the map closely, and then look at the trees and then the map, and then the trees again. I yawn, and I lean against the big trunk of an old oak. I think so, and Charlie strokes his beard. Tobin starts to run. That's the stab bar, right there, he's pointing. Right, look, it's right there. I yawn again. Did we bring any snacks? I asked Charlie. For crimity's sake, lemonade. Tobin turns around to face me with the hands on the hips. What can I say? Making history just makes me hungry. We're making cryptozoological history here. Our names might just be in the history books that are produced from here on out, and all you can think about are Twinkies. Charlie digs a Twinkie out of his backpack and hands it to me. It's all squished with filling all squeezed out of the 3 holes in the bottom and smeared against the wrapper. It's all smushed, I say. Tastes the same, Charlie smiles. I take it and I sit down in the grass under the oak while Charlie and Tobin examine the area to see if it's official or not. I carefully peel the plastic wrap off the golden cake to save for licking later. And then I devour the Twinkie in 3 bites. Who knew expeditions could make a person so hungry? This is where Roger Patterson stumbled with the camera. Right here, Tobin points. And where she turns around and looks right into the camera. I watch them while I stare at the plastic wrap. I lick every last bit of the sweet filling. They study the map and then check for signs. It's a match. This tree and that rock and this clearing and so on. When I'm done licking the plastic wrap clean, I scrunch it in a ball and I put it in the pocket of Charlie's windbreaker, still wrapped around me from last night. I rest my head on my knees, my eyes feeling heavier with each blink. My lids beg me to let them stay shut each time my eyelashes touch. You walk the path Bigfoot did, and I'll take the pictures, Charlie says. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, now let's turn back at me. Yep, right there. And Tobin clicks the camera. I sneeze, waking my eyes up for good. Why don't you just scare away all the critters of the forest? Tobin hollers at me. My volcano wants to tell him to shut up, but I don't. I stand up, I brush the dirt off my backside instead, and that's when I notice it. Is it? It can't be. I squint real hard and take another look, and I think it is.